Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Dale Howard. It is my privilege to be your presenter today. The topic at hand is using master projects in Microsoft Project. My name is Dale Howard. As I mentioned already, I am the Director of Education for Sensei Project Solutions. Currently, I'm one of only 28 Microsoft Project MVPs in the entire world. MVP stands for Most Valuable Professional. It's an honorary title. There's only 5 of us now in the United States. Our numbers have dropped a bit over the last couple years. I'm currently the co-author of 21 different books on Microsoft Project, Project Server, and Project Online. Actually, about a half hour ago, I was working on book number 22. I've used every version of Microsoft Project going back to version 4.0 for Windows 95, and I've used every version of Microsoft's PPM tool, Project Portfolio Management, since their first tool was introduced in the year 2000 under the original name of Project Central. Today I am speaking to you live from my home office here in Ellisville, Missouri. I'm in a west suburb of St. Louis. A little bit about my employer. We are Sensei Project Solutions. A couple of great honors have come our way in the past few years. Number one, we were Microsoft's PPM Partner of the Year winner back in 2014. We've also been a finalist in 2015, 2017, and 2018. By finalists, that means we were one of the 3 runner-up organizations. We've done hundreds of deployments of Microsoft Project Online and Project Server, literally trained thousands of users around the world. We do truly have a global impact. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the content here today. So, ladies and gentlemen, what is a master project? Well, simply stated, a master project is a single project consisting of other projects. Each project that is inserted in a master project is called a sub-project. Each sub-project that is inserted can be inserted as either a read-write project or as a read-only project. Master projects can be created either as temporary projects or as permanent projects that you save and reuse. Master projects can also be created as either local projects where you save them as MPP files or as enterprise projects in the Microsoft PPM solution. That's Project Online or Project Server. Master projects are useful for doing things like analyzing overall performance for all projects in a program of projects. That's where it's really handy. Also, here's where it's very important, setting dependencies between tasks in the subproject. We call those setting cross-project dependencies. Also useful for analyzing and resolving resource overallocations that span across one or more of the subprojects. Now, to create, the first topic I wanted to address is for any of you who are using Project Online, because the process of creating projects, master projects and Project Online is a little bit different than it is with creating master projects when you're using desktop only. So in Project Online, to create a master project, first you need to know that in some organizations, your organization will not allow you to save a master project. But I want you to know that does not stop you from creating a temporary master project. Now, the fastest way to create a master project in Project Online is to complete the following steps. You go to the Project Center page in Project Web App. Using the Control key, you will select the row headers at the left end of each project that you want to include as a sub-project of the temporary master project. Then you'll click the Open Pick List button and you'll choose in Microsoft Project for editing. From there, you'll expand the sub-project starting at the bottom and working your way to the top. And then if you are allowed, you can save the master project in Project Online. So let me go to Project Web App and I'll show you how this works. So I'm going to navigate to the Project Center page, and I've got 3 projects here that I want to put into a temporary master project. So what I just did is I clicked the first row header, held down the Control key, clicked the second one, and the third one. Then if I go to the Open Pick List button, I'll choose in Microsoft Project for editing. After we get past this warning, the software will launch Microsoft Project Professional, connect me automatically to Project Online, and then, folks, here it comes. Oh, here we go. Bingo! And ladies and gentlemen, starting down at the bottom, here are the 3 selected projects in a master project. These 3 sub-projects, I can now analyze the whole program if it was underway. If we're in the planning stage, I could set cross-project dependencies as I need to do. I could analyze and resolve resource over allocations. Now, if my organization allows me to save the master project permanently, all I would have to do is hit save. But if that's not allowed in our organization, I can do anything I need to do with the master project, including setting cross-project dependencies. And then when I'm done, what I do is this. I'll click Close to close the master project. See how it's called Project 1? And I'll say, no, I don't want to save any of the changes. Now, don't freak out on me, because when I click OK, if I had made changes, such as if I had set cross-project dependencies between tasks in the 3 projects, I get this series of confirmation dialogues. Do you want to save your changes to the build component A project? And if I had made changes, I could just click yes to all, and it would save all of the sub-projects for me automatically. Now, I didn't make any changes, so I'm going to click no to all. But that is how to work with Project Online to create a master project. Now, let me get out of Microsoft Project, and let me also get out of PWA here. And let me get back to, let's get back to Microsoft Project. Okay, hang on here. Let's get project started again. And this time I just want to be in computer mode only. Okay, so next topic I wanted to talk with you about is, what do you do, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not using Project Server or Project Online and you're working in just desktop only mode? Well, you do need to know about the concept known as a shared resource pool file. if you're not using Project Online or Project Server, in other words, you're just desktop only, and you want to be able to analyze and level cross-project over allocations in your master project, the very first thing you need to do is to connect each of your sub-projects to a shared resource pool file. Now, there's actually two methods for doing that. The first method is to open a blank MPP file. And in that blank MPP file, what you'll end up doing is you will manually type all the resources from all of your sub-projects into the resource sheet view of this blank file, and then you'll save the MPP file with a name that clearly identifies it as a shared resource pool file. Now, after you do this, then what you need to do is connect each sub-project as a sharing file to the shared resource pool file. The second method is to open a blank MPP file and just save it, and then connect each sub-project as a sharing file to the shared resource pool file. Now, this method assumes that in each sub-project, you already have resources in your project team and assigned to tasks. I will not be demonstrating the first method because how hard is it to open a blank file, type in a bunch of names, hit File Save, and save the file. I want to show you the second method because that method is pretty clever. So, creating a shared resource pool file, if you already do have resources assigned to the tasks in the project, then here's what you can do to create your shared resource pool file. Number one, first, and this is very important, ladies and gentlemen, confirm that the name of every resource is spelled identically across all of the sub-projects. You can't have Margaret Cobb in one project and Mickey Cobb in another one, because in reality, Margaret Cobb and Mickey Cobb are exactly the same person. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, when I say the name Margaret Cobb or Mickey Cobb, it makes my heart go pit-a-pat. That's actually my wife, my lovely wife. So you've got to confirm that everybody's name is spelled identically across all of the sub-projects. If not, you got to make corrections. Then what you do is you open a new blank MPP file that will serve as your shared resource pool file. You'll save it with a name that clearly identifies it as a shared resource pool file. Then you'll open your first sub-project. You'll click the Resource tab. In the assignment section of the resource ribbon, you'll click the resource pool pick list button. You'll choose the item share resources. In that dialog, you will select the options. The option use resources requires at least one open resource pool option. On the from pick list, you pick the name of your shared resource pool file. You'll leave the option pool takes precedence selected and click OK. Then you're going to save and close that first sub-project. And then you will repeat the previous steps for every sub-project that you want to use in the master. And then you will finally save and close the shared resource pool file after you've connected every sub-project to it as a sharing file. So let me get back to my Microsoft project, and I just want to show you what I have here. So I made this very obvious, didn't I? Shared resource pool. I could have actually said something like build component shared resource pool, something like that. So let me go ahead and open this. And I wanted to let you know that I've already connected 2 of the 3 sub-projects to this shared resource pool file to save time. So I'm going to choose the second option, open the resource pool, read write, so I can make changes to it. So let me go ahead and click OK. And bingo. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the 13 resources that were automatically imported into this shared resource pool file when I connected the sub-projects to them as sharing files. Now, let me go ahead and open the third one, and I'll show you how to do this. So this is build component C. We'll go ahead and open it. See, here's some resources. They are already assigned to tasks. They might or might not be people that are already in the list. So I'll go to the resource ribbon, resource pool pick list button, share resources, and here I'll use the option use resources, requires at least one open resource pool. There it is. It already senses that is the shared resource pool file. Pool takes precedence. I'll leave that selected. Click OK. Bingo, it's now connected. I'll save this project. I'll close it. I'll save my resource pool file. I'll close it as well. Now, back to my PowerPoint. Let's talk about creating a master project in Microsoft Project. There's actually 2 methods, ladies and gentlemen, for creating a master project in Microsoft Project. The first method is to insert each sub-project manually into a blank project file. And that's the method that most people know about if they've been working with master projects previously. But there's another way. This is secret forbidden knowledge, so everybody pay attention. The second method is creating the master project automatically by using some built-in functionality in Microsoft Project Desktop called New Window. And this is the functionality most people don't know about. And I'll demo this to you and I'll show you what the advantages are. That is my favorite method, and it's been my favorite method for years and years. So I'll show you both of these methods in our webinar today. So the first method is inserting each project manually as a sub-project. And here's the steps you do. Launch Microsoft Project. You create a new blank project. You click the Project tab to display the project ribbon. In the Insert section of the ribbon, there's a special button called Subproject. You'll click that. In the dialog, you'll use the Control key to individually select each project that you want to be included as a subproject of the master project file. In that dialog, you'll click Insert. Then the problems begin. The projects will not be listed in the order of display that you'd like to see them. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to drag and drop the projects into the order that you want to see them. And then finally, your last step is if you do want to make this a permanent master project, then you do save it. So let me get back to my Microsoft project and I will show you how to use the insert method, the manual method. So I'm going to go to new blank file and I'll click the project ribbon and look, here's that subproject button I told you about. I'll click it and then I'm going to use the control key here. I could also use shift, but I'm going to select the 3 projects that I want included in the master project. I'll click insert and then look at this. They're backwards. I picked A, then B, then C, and it put them in C, B, and A. So my first step is, well, I've got to drag them and drop them. So let me go ahead and do that. and then I'll have to expand them from the bottom up. Now, this project is connected to a shared resource pool file. So look, it now prompts me, do you want to open that shared resource pool? And ladies and gentlemen, the answer is yes, indeed I do. So I'll click OK. All right, bingo. Now I'll expand component B project, component A project. Let's widen the duration column. We'll put the split bar back over. We'll bring the Gantt bars into view, and ladies and gentlemen, there it is. There's another master project with 3 sub-projects inserted. There's build component A, component B, and component C. Now, that's the manual method, and that's the method most people know. However, I want to show you the other way. So I'm going to close the master, and I'm not going to save any changes. And I'm going to say no to all. Okay, I'm going to leave my shared resource pool file open. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open component A, and I'm going to open component B, and I'm going to open component C. Okay, so I've just opened all 3 projects that I want to be included in a temporary master project. Now that was a little bit more work. Truth is, I could have gone to the Windows, the File Explorer. I could have done it that way and just clicked them. There's faster ways I could have got them open. Now, here's the trick. To automatically create a master project, I go to the View ribbon, and over on the far right end of the View ribbon, there is a New Window button that most people have probably never noticed in their lives. I click New Window, and look and ask me, do you want to create a new window? And if so, what projects do you want included in this window? Ladies and gentlemen, watch this. I'm going to highlight all 3 of the sub-projects, not the shared one, just the 3 that are the sub-projects. I'll click OK, and bingo, look at that. The system just automatically created a master project for me automatically. The projects are listed in the order that I wanted them, A, B, and C. Let's bring the Gantt bars into view. Bingo. There we have it. So that is the trick on how to create a new master project automatically. But wait, there's more. So let's get back to our PowerPoint presentation. Here's that method. Second method is created automatically. Let's just review the steps I did. Launch Microsoft project. Individually open each project you want to be a sub-project. Go to the View ribbon. In the Window section, click New Window. In the dialog, select each sub-project. You do not select the shared resource pool file. Then the View option, I recommend setting that to Gantt chart. All right, so that's the steps, and I wanted you to know, and by the way, I should have mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, at the conclusion of the webinar, sometime early this afternoon, I will send all participants a PDF copy of my PowerPoint presentation so that you have these directions and then you can do this on your own. Now, one of the big uses for master projects is setting cross-project dependencies. To set a dependency from a task in one project to a task in another, here's how you do it. You select, in the master project, you select the predecessor task in one project. Then you press and hold the Control key and select the successor task in another project. Then you release the control key. You go to the task ribbon. In the schedule section, you'll click the button, link the selected tasks. Now, if the master project is a permanent project, you can go ahead and save the master project, and then it'll ask you if you want to update the shared resource pool file. But if the master project is only a temporary project, then after you've set all of your task dependencies, what you can do is close the master, and you don't need to save the changes. And then you will be prompted, as I showed you before, do you want to save the changes in the first sub-project? And ladies and gentlemen, just click that magic yes to all button, and then update the shared resource pool file, because it will prompt you to do that as well. Now, what I want you to know and understand very clearly, ladies and gentlemen, is that cross-project dependencies are saved in the individual sub-projects. They are not saved in the master. That's why you can discard the master without saving it, but then you do need to save each of the sub-projects. So let's see if we can do some cross-project linking. So let me get back to my master project. That would be project 3 here at B. And I'm going to select task number 3 in the first project. There's the predecessor. Now I'm going to hold down the control key and select task number 3 in the second project. That's a successor. Then I'm going to scroll down a little further, and with the control key held down again, I'm going to select task number 3 in the third sub-project. And on my little quick access toolbar, I have a favorite button, link the selected task. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, I just saw movement on the screen. And here's what just happened. This task is now a predecessor to this task in its own project, and it's an external predecessor to this task in the second project. This task is a predecessor to the next task in its own project, and it's also an external predecessor to this task in the third project. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close the master project, and I'm going to say no. Let me get back to my PowerPoint. I want you also to understand the behavior of cross-project dependencies. When you create cross-project dependencies, this creates external predecessors and external successors. These external tasks are displayed using gray Gantt bars with task names formatted with gray text. Their nickname is actually ghost tasks. And my joke is, do you know why they call them ghost tasks? Because the first time you see them, you get really scared. What is that? Gray tasks? I don't know. Looks like I'm seeing a ghost. Now, you know I'm just kidding, but that is their nickname. They're called ghost tasks. Now, the behavior is this: when a task slips in a predecessor project, and then the project manager of the successor project opens his or her project, he or she will see a dialog called Links Between Projects, and that's a warning dialog with information about potential slippage in their project. Using this information, what the project manager of the successor project can do is determine what changes there are to the successor project and then accept those changes. So let's go back, and here's what I wanted to show you. Here's our build component C project, and I want you to notice there's a new task number 3. It's got a gray Gantt bar. The text is in gray. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an external predecessor to what becomes now task number 4. So I'm going to go ahead and save this project and see how it wants me to update the shared resource pool file. So I'll click OK, and then I'll close it. And now we go back to project B, and this is really interesting. I see 2 ghost tasks. This one is an external predecessor. This one is an external successor. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And again, I'm prompted to update the shared resource pool file. And then I'm going to close it. And then let me save this as well. And I wanted to show you that in this project, there is an external successor. There it is, design subcomponent B1. There it is right there. Now, let's put a little progress into this project. And the progress that I'm going to put in, I'm going to say that task number 2 actually took 8 days to complete, not 5. Whoops. See, there's going to be some slippage. And I'm going to mark the task as 100% done. All right, I'll save my work, update the resource pool file. I'll close this project. Now, everybody pretend with me that I am not the project manager of the component A project. Let's pretend I'm a different project manager and I'm in charge of the component B project. So after the progress was entered in the component A project, I open my component B project, and ladies and gentlemen, I get this warning dialog. This is the links between projects dialog. What it shows me is which task in my project is being impacted by an external task in another project. Now, if I click this external task right down at the bottom, there's a path listing that shows me which project is the external predecessor. If I scroll over to the right, it also shows me the differences field. There's either a change in the start date or a change in the finish date. Now, in order to accept this change, what I need to do is select the task from the external project. And down here, I have a button called Accept. I'll click Accept, and then I'll click Close. Now, ladies and gentlemen, watch for things moving on the screen. When I click Close, bingo, did you see it? Did you see it? There. We now have slippage from our external project. All right, so let me go ahead and save my work here. And let's get back to my PowerPoint slide. Last thing I wanted you to know before we entertain questions. There are some very specific project options that you can use with cross-project dependency linked projects. So if you go to the File tab and click Options in the backstage, you have to go clear down to the bottom of the dialog to the cross-project linking options section on the advanced page of the dialog. And what you will find are 4 options for working with cross-project dependencies. The first one is Show External Successors. By default, this is selected. With this option selected, it will display external successors as ghost tasks. If you want to hide them, if you don't want to see the gray ghost tasks, deselect this checkbox. The second option is show external predecessors. This is also selected by default. And when selected, this will display external predecessors as the gray ghost task. If you don't want to see them, deselect this checkbox as well. Now, the third option is really important. This is show links between projects dialog box on open. Leave this option selected. I do strongly recommend to you so that links between projects dialog will open whenever there's been a change to a predecessor project that is driving tasks in your successor project. And by doing this, it lets you accept the progress manually. It lets you study what's going to change in your schedule and then accept it. Now, if you don't select this checkbox, then there's one more checkbox option that will display automatically accept new external data. And folks, you do need to select that option. If you don't have show link between projects dialog on open, if you don't select that, you've got to choose the other one. So let me show you where these options are in our component B project. If I go to File, Options, Advanced, scroll all the way down. Here it is, Cross Project Linking Options. Folks, notice it is project specific. So this is for the build component B project. Show external successors. Nah, don't want to see them. Show external predecessors. Nah, I don't want to see those either. So just for fun, I'll deselect those. But I did want to show you this. This is very important. Leave that selected, ladies and gentlemen. You do, believe me, based on my experience, you do want to see that dialog. All right, so just for fun, I've deselected to show external successors and external predecessors. So what's going to happen here is these two gray ghost tasks are going to disappear. So when I click OK, bingo, they're gone. Here's the problem you run into. You have missing ID numbers. See here? We're missing number 3. We're missing number 5. There is no way to get the missing numbers or to get these ID numbers renumbered so that you don't see something is missing. You just have to have the knowledge that this is a sub-project of a master that is linked to other projects with cross-project dependencies, and the ones that are missing are the external tasks. So there's no way to work around that, folks. You just have to live with it. All right, so let's get back to our PowerPoint, and I'm ready to entertain some questions if anybody has. Okay, Teresa, what are the gotchas of using master projects in Project Online? If you save them in Project Online, Teresa, there is one gotcha. And let me show you. Let me get to my Project Online instance that I'll just bring up our beacon instance. So now what I wanted to show you is this, Teresa. The gotcha is if you save master projects in your Project Online system, what Project Online will do is it will automatically hide the sub-projects. They disappear, and you're going to start asking yourself, where did my sub-projects go? So, Teresa, over here at the far right end of the projects ribbon, there's a Show Hide section with a checkbox called Sub-Projects. If I click that, then what it'll do, it'll show the master projects and their sub-projects as well. So, Teresa, that is the gotcha. That is the main gotcha. Denise asked, if a project is stored in MSP Online, is it possible to link to a project outside of MSP Online? Denise, if you're saying to an MPP project file, yes, it certainly is. You can do that, but I don't know why you'd want to do that. But yes, it is, because all of your projects, in theory, should be in your project online system. Teresa had another question. If you create a temporary master project and need to go back and edit or add dependencies, do you have to create a new temporary master project? Yeah, but you see, you can do it so quickly that it doesn't really cause a problem. So yeah, anytime you want to make changes, just create your new temporary master project again. Hans has a question. If I'm the owner of the master project, every time I open the master project, I will see all the project tasks. Yep. My problem is that I have a master project with 10,000 lines and 10 sub projects with 7,000. Holy mackerel. To me, as a master project manager, I would like to not see all the lines of the sub project. Yeah, Hans, that's a limitation of the system. There's no way to automatically hide lines. You can use filtering, I suppose, to trim down the list, but my friend, you're working with a big honkin' master project, so I'm afraid you just gotta live with that. Matt McDonald says, I hope you and Margaret have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Will a recording of this be available? Yes, it will. Ladies and gentlemen, our recording, you'll receive an email tomorrow letting you know how to access the recording. I see another question from somebody, but I don't see a name. In Project Online, I'm getting an error putting together a master project. The value entered does not exist in the lookup table. Oh man, that's way deeper than I can go in this webinar. Sorry, not sure on that. That's one where somebody would need to look at your Project Online system. Roy has a question. Can I save a new project file to Project Online as a sub-project without having a related project site? Yes, you can. That's actually controlled, though, Roy, by your application administrator. There's a setting that's related to each enterprise project type that determines when a SharePoint project site is created. And if the setting is specified that it's created automatically on first publish, then there's nothing you can do about it. But if the setting is set so the project manager has the option, then you would have the option to just not have a project site. Hans has a question. For cost reporting and resource planning, which project is taking as valid on the reporting on PWA? All of the sub projects. And you know, that can be an issue with reporting in Project Online. If you're using reports in the report center or you're using reports in Power BI, you need to have master projects excluded, so we're only reporting on the sub projects. Roy asked, what about baseline information in the master? The baseline information, Roy, is stored in each sub project, so you don't need to baseline the master. However, if the master project will include some additional tasks that go beyond just the sub-projects, then you will want to baseline. I'm assuming that's a saved master project, so at that point you would want to save a baseline. Lori, can a project be a sub-project to multiple master projects? In Project Online, no. In desktop, I believe the answer is yes, but I'd have to do the research on that. But in project online, no. Oh, David has a question. Do you have a recommended maximum project dependencies? David, wonderful question. The answer is keep it to the bare bones minimum. Put as few in as you possibly can and get the job done. The reason is every time you open a master project that has been a saved master project, when you open that master project, it opens all of the sub-projects read write. They all open at the same time in the background. And when you have cross-project dependencies, it can take a lot longer. So good question. Matt, can you create a project plan to ensure your 30-minute training session does not exceed 50%? Oh, you know what? Tee-hee-hee, Matt's joking with me. Ladies and gentlemen, I planned a half-hour webinar, but I apologize. I took 15 minutes extra of your time to give you some more information. So, Matt, thanks for kidding with me. I sure do appreciate it. Yep, folks, we went 15 minutes overtime, but I think it was for a good cause. I hope this has been a good webinar for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get back to my PowerPoint, and I will say one final thing. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for attending our webinar. Great to see you. We'll see you the next time. Bye-bye, everybody.